So that is what we call a runbook, but also analysts like Gartner call this runbook automation. Runbook automation is about automating your maintenance on your infrastructure. It's about user provisioning and creating productivity inside the organization. If you can automate the maintenance, so to make a higher availability of your infrastructure, and you combine that with empowering the users by having an automated process of provisioning this user, then you can focus on those new challenges that IT comes up with. What I often hear is that the needs of users are too much for IT because they have so much work to do. Our goal is to help you, the IT professional, to automate these kind of activities with runbook automation. I'll have a quick demo for you. In this demo, I will show you how easy it is to automate all these tasks to create a user account and simply enter those parameters that you need to create a user account and everything is done. I will do the demo with one user account, but it's exactly the same actions that I do to create a cloud user as well. This is just a simple example of how automation of tasks will ease your life. Yes, we have screen, great. So, in this environment, I have created a runbook. This runbook helps me to create a productive user. Inside this runbook, there are several jobs. And those jobs will create a user, it will wait a few minutes, and then it will synchronize some systems again. So, for example, I need to upload information to my human resources. So these are those examples of tasks that you want to combine into a runbook. If I then drill down into this user creation, you will see again a lot of subtasks that are all required to create a user account. So it is quite a difficult task to create a user account and think about the home directory, mailbox, permissions, etc. If you just encapsulate that into a runbook, and you can do and execute this runbook every time again, you will have a consistent way of creating user accounts. So the idea of automation is that you only once think about how to create this user account. We have a lot of predefined tasks in the system for you. So all these tasks that I showed can be created with only a mouse, no scripting at all. We have about 120 predefined tasks that you can use. Those tasks are feedback from the field, so you will find them very valuable. If there is something not yet in the system, you can create them yourselves. We also support all kinds of scripting languages to create additional capabilities. We also like you to give us that feedback so we can create those easy to click tasks again based on that feedback.
So think about all the resources you guys are going through as you become a new hire, or somebody changes jobs, or simply moves locations. This is 5 and 6 different consoles, repositories, applications. These are things that consistently would be anything from 3 to 4 dozen mouse clicks per activity, plus time lag between those to get done. This concept of runbooks is extremely powerful. And we've got a encapsulated list of a little over 100 in the product, but anything you guys click or script today can be automated. That's the power of this technology. So it's really as long as a piece of string when we talk about the potential here. It's really what you need to do.
So I take the runbook and I will schedule this runbook, and it will ask me for, okay, I need some information. All the technical information that is required is already put into those tasks. So the power of runbooks like this is that even helpless personnel that do not know Active Directory management, that do not know Exchange, still can create a productive user with only providing the information required. So let's create a user account for Jeff. That's the only set of information I need. This is a single user account. If I have 1,000, I simply select a comma separated file with the same information but for 1,000 accounts. Same activity. So what will now happen is that this runbook will be scheduled on those various machines. So first there will be a creation of an account in Active Directory in the domain controller. The second step will be to create home directories to set permissions, set other properties on that account, and once that is done, we will create a mailbox for this user as well. I didn't configure anything or select anything during this demo. That's all pretty fine and only configured once by an IT administrator. And inside those tasks, you have a very detailed set of information about the progress. So here you can see the information that was entered to execute a task, and you can actually see what is going on in the background, what tasks are being performed, what tasks are being skipped. So you have a very detailed view on what is happening in IT on those jobs that you have scheduled. Whether you schedule them manually or you do them every night, it's all up to you. So the user account has now been created, and if we quickly go to Active Directory, you will see that Mr. Jeff Wedlofer has been created with all the information that I entered, including the mailbox that we can use.
Not sure if anybody had a stopwatch. Usually there's somebody in the room timing it. I think that was under 2 minutes comfortably. Typically that can be something that could, at the end of the day, that can take a whole day. When you get to talk to different people, get things done through some kind of workflow of some kind. We've just done that live in under 2 minutes. We're now going to show you now not just how we've done the infrastructure and the creation of the identity, but we've also provisioned that experience for the user to be productive right away. Now, how many of you have had a new IT experience put in front of you where you've given somebody a corporate machine and they've logged into it, and then they spend the next half of the day making it their own? Setting up email, setting up signature files, those kinds of things that are just time consuming. We're now going to show you how we can take you through that process and talk about and demonstrate how we think about the hybrid client and what RAS believes is this dynamic desktop, and how within the dynamic desktop that is delivered across this hybrid client, how we can provide this context-aware user workspace. And that user workspace is delivered as a composed service down to the user, is delivered across a different type of level of experiences, whether those be virtual or physical. And it incorporates things like data, software, settings, printers, the kind of stuff that you just don't want to worry about on a daily basis for every single user. It's a concept we just deliver a service to. So this concept of delivering, through things like Vue, through things like FinApp, the application virtualization platform, how we can encapsulate all of that into a user experience delivered across a different set of devices. We call that the user workspace. That's okay.
So the way that we look at this workspace and the way how to build up this workspace is that we really need to focus around what the user needs. And we call that the desktop content. The user needs all these items to be productive. So there's a lot of fuss about personalization, profile solutions. In our opinion, profile solutions only take care of this wallpaper with the dog in the background, for example. Sometimes I ask people like, how important is this wallpaper? It's always very important. But how does a different wallpaper or a standardized wallpaper, which is not personalized, impact the productivity of the user if you compare that to providing the right applications to this user, providing access to the right data resources? What is more impact? And then the answer is always, they first need the applications to do their job, and then once they have the applications, we also want to provide them their own wallpaper. So you need to take care of not only personalization, you need to take care of access to applications, access to the data they need for those applications, also printers, output for example, and also you need to take care of personalization, so the user experience personal workspace. So to get this personal experience based on what Jeff told, we have all different kinds of technologies today, different kinds of devices. You cannot focus on the user anymore. It's not about the user itself. So if you look to me, Bob Goudsmaker, my identity inside my building where I work is the safe Bob Goudsmaker. But as soon as I'm going to drink a coffee at Starbucks, then suddenly the same user account Bob Goudsmaker is going to be unsafe Bob Goudsmaker. So it's not only about identity, it's about the entire context of the user. So we think that the context should take into account location, should take into account time of day, type of device. So don't provide a CD learning application if you know that this user is accessing your infrastructure through an iPad. At least not the iPad that is out today. I'm not sure if it will happen in the future, but you cannot learn CDs. So don't provide applications that are not appropriate for the device the user is using. If we look to hospitals and doctors are moving from one practice to another practice, he is not allowed to access the information about patients that he was allowed to access this morning, in the afternoon. He has a different role. So it's not only about the identity, it's about more context rules than just the identity. And based on the context rule that we discover inside the user context, we are going to build up the right desktop items. We are going to provide the right applications, printers, data, and personalization to let this user be productive for your company. That's why we work. And now that we have the context, we can also use the same context of this user for security. In the past, we all had our own desktop. So I could secure the desktop that belonged to what goes to. Now suddenly I'm sharing the same desktop or the same image with all of you guys. And I'm sure we have different levels of access to the infrastructure. So you need to take care of security inside the user context. You cannot take care of security anymore on device level. It doesn't work with this hybrid concept that we need to support today. So if we look to network access, for example, whether I have a virtual desktop or a terminal server kind of desktop, I need to restrict my access to the network based on who I am inside my session that is running on the same server in the same data center next to this broad mode administrator in my company that has a totally different network security set. So the context becomes very important. Once you have the context, you can take care of what the user needs to be productive, and you can also take care of the security and secure those desktop items based on the context again. So then suddenly I can now be the unsafe ghost marker at Starbucks that can no longer access development code, while if he is in the office, he is the secure ghost marker, and he can access development code. That is through context-aware creation of desktop that includes very tight security.
And this is a concept that's not just the entire machine's current security. How many of you are running today users with local administrative privileges, this elevation locally? This gets down to application by application as well, so application whitelisting and blacklisting, and allowing applications to be able to run in the context that they're designed to run. Or simply, as a blacklist example, not allowing some applications to even run no matter where their context is. These are terms the industry has found to be very important as we try and get costs down, improve security, and be compliant.
So what I will show you now is the account that we have just created by only entering username and what did I do your role? I will
speaker.
Yeah, speaker. So I will log on with that account, and you will see that a personal desktop will appear for Jeff Wethoff that is running on top of a stateless virtual machine. So what will happen is that through the connection server, we will be presented a new clean virtual image with a set image. Then you will see upon log on, as soon as the user context is there, we will start discovering the context. So we will look at where you are, we will look at the device you are using, we will look at who you are, we will enumerate the Active Directory, get all the information that we need, so we can apply those rules that we have set up. That based on who Jeff is, based on his role, based on the location, we automatically populate the entire start menu. We will provide him all the applications, we will provide him the data that he needs. So inside the computer, he will have only those drives that he actually needs. Too much wide again? Here we go, sorry. So we provide Jeff the information he actually